Hello everyone, welcome to Nurse Bestie Explains. So in this video we will continue the topic of nursing research with characteristics of good research. So what are the characteristics of good research? Why we call good research any topic as a good research when it fulfills all the characteristics which are following. They are orderly and systematic process. If you conduct the research by following the systematic order, okay, as you already know, it starts with the selection of the topic, defining the objectives, reviewing the literature, like that it goes on. So all those steps that research has to follow in order and systematic process. This is one characteristic. Based on current professional issues. Okay, instead of going to the old techniques for taking them, the current professional problems what nurses are facing in the field of nursing practice, administration, informatics, education, those type of problems if you select, that will be helpful. So based on current professional issues and begin with clearly defined purposes. Before starting the study, selecting the topic, after you select the topic, clearly you have to define the purposes why you are conducting research in this topic. You have to clearly define the purposes. Emphasis to develop, refine and expand professional knowledge. More emphasis is given to develop, refine and expand the professional knowledge. The research what you are going to conduct, it should be helpful to refine whatever already existing information is there, that it should refine that and expand the professional knowledge. It should be helpful for the improving knowledge for the nursing profession and directed towards development or testing theories. Any previous theories, developed theories, it can test those theories and development of those theories and finding solution of the problems. Whatever problem you have selected at the first step, solution has to come. Finding solution to that problem. Dedicated to develop empirical evidence. You have to dedicate your research to develop empirical evidence so that everyone can do that. Same result should come so that empirical evidence will be there. Strive to collect first-hand information. So work hard to collect the first-hand information. The researcher who is conducting research should go personally, talk to the client whomever you are conducting research on. First-hand information you have to collect. Don't depend on other sources where there is chance of bias or influence is there. Okay, you cannot send your friend or anybody, family member, go collect information, ask these questions, like that you cannot send them. Bias will come. So strive to collect first-hand information if you want a good result. That is also one of the character of a good research. An objective and logical process. Objectives you have to formulate and the process should be logically. One by one, step by step logical process you have to follow. Generate findings to refine and improve professional practice. Whatever result you will get findings, it should refine and improve the existing professional nursing practice. Use of appropriate methodology. Okay, research methodology, whatever technique you are using, it should be appropriate. Conducted on representative sample. As I told you, sample or subject. Okay, that is 30 or 50 children between 5 to 10 years age group. They are the sample. Okay, representative sample only. If they completed 10 years, just completed, like that you should not consider. So exactly the criteria, whoever meet the criteria, those people only you have to take them as a sample in your study. Conducted through appropriate use of methods and tools of data collection. For collecting the data, there are some tools of data collection. Okay, this we will see in next videos of research. So those tools of data collection only you have to use. Appropriate use of methods and tools of data collection only you have to use and conduct the study. Use of valid and reliable data collection tools. Valid and reliable, where you can trust, and valid tools only can be used. Carefully recorded and reported. Adequately and appropriately analyzed research. Analysis should be done appropriately without any mistakes or bias. Patiently carried out activity. This whole research process has to be done with lot of patience, spending time, going personally and collecting first-hand information from the subjects. Researchers' expertise, interest, motivation, and courage is very much required for a good research. The person who is conducting research, they should be expert and develop detailed knowledge about the topic of research. First, they should study and understand well. They should have interest in the topic to conduct research. They should be motivated and courage. Okay, adequately communicated. After you get the results, that has to be adequately communicated to the other people in the nursing profession, properly communicated. You can publish those research findings in the journals, nursing journals, and you can share your knowledge by sharing your research study in the internet. Like that, you can share the knowledge and you can adequately communicate. Okay, so appropriately analyze research, patiently carried out activity, researcher expertise, interest, motivation, and courage, adequately communicated. So these are all the characteristics of a good research. Okay, these are all the characteristics of good research. If any research study meets all these characteristics, it is called as good research. Next one is steps of research process. Very important, as we already seen steps in scientific method. Say most of the steps will be similar. Steps of research process start with first one is identify the problem. Select the topic of the research study in which you want to conduct research. Find out the relevant data. Already about this same topic, any data is there? Anybody conducted research previously? All that, how many studies are conducted? What is their result? All that data you can collect related to the topic. Then next step is review and related literature. Previous researchers who have done studies on that topic, all those studies you can collect. Review the related literature. From the journals you will get this, from the internet, books, textbooks, other sources you will get this review of literature. Then construct hypothesis. Hypothesis is an assumption, assuming what result you are going to get at the end of the study, that you have to construct before itself. Then identify the study population and find out the method. Population, study population, on whom you are going to conduct your study. Example, children between 5 to 10 years. So identify those and find out the method, what method you are going to use to conduct the or to collect the data. Then after selecting all this, collect the data from the sample or population, then analyze the data. After data is collected, by using statistics, you have to do analysis of the data, then communicate the findings. The last step is communicating the findings. Whatever result you get, you have to communicate in the form of matter, paragraphs, or in the form of diagrammatic way, tabular form, bar chart, pie chart. You can use anything, but clear information has to be given about the results, communicating the findings. So these are the steps of research process. And there are same, almost similar, but another 7 steps of research process. First one, define research problem, review of literature, formulate hypothesis, preparing the research design, data collection, data analysis, interpretation, and report writing. Whatever results you will get in data analysis, you have to communicate, interpret, and the report writing. You have to represent that the results in the form of reporting in writing form. Okay, results communicating. These are the 7 steps of research process. We will see about each step. Coming to the step 1, define research problem. Okay, there are 2 types of research problems. Those are relate to states of nature, relationship between variables. Okay, relate to states of nature and related relationship between variables. Essentially, 2 steps are involved in defining research problem. They are understanding the problem thoroughly. First, researcher has to understand the problem on which they are going to study thoroughly, and rephrasing the same into meaningful terms. Whatever topic you select, rephrase it into meaningful terms from a point of view. Whatever point of view you are going to conduct study, in that point of view, you have to rephrase the same into meaningful terms. Okay, that is defining research problem. Next, step 2 is Review of literature. Okay, very important step. For this purpose, manuals, you can use manuals, company records, any hospital records, you can use of the patient's journals, you can use published data, you can get from the journals, textbooks, or from the online internet purposes. Then literature review is an integral part of entire research process. So it is very important part and makes valuable contribution to every operational step. Reviewing literature can be time consuming. This may be time consuming because you have to search various sources to find out same kind of research studies conducted. Daunting and frustrating, but it is also rewarding. Once you get the review literature, same kind of studies, this will help guide how to conduct your study. Its functions are, these review literature functions are bring clarity and focus to your research problem. This will give clarity and focus. Improve your methodology. You can see the methodology of previous studies. So your methodology can improve, broaden your knowledge, contextualize your findings. So this will help to contextualize the findings. Next, step 3. Formulate hypothesis. Third step is formulating the hypothesis. Formulate hypothesis is tentative assumption. As I already told you, hypothesis is what the result is you are going to get, assuming that result before itself. Formulate hypothesis is tentative assumption made in order to draw out and test its logical or empirical consequences. If the result is going to come like this, what consequences you are going to face, that you can assume before itself. That is called as hypothesis, that you have to formulate before itself. Hypothesis should be very specific and limited to the piece of research in hand because it has to be tested before you formulate. After conducting the study, whatever you formulated, you have to test it then whether you got the same results or not. The role of hypothesis is to guide the researcher by delimiting the area of research and to keep him on the right track. Hypothesis is very important. Okay, that is step 3, formulating the hypothesis. Next one is step 4. Step 4 is preparing the research design. The function of research design is to provide for the collection of relevant evidence with minimal expenditure of effort, time and money. So the function of preparing this research design is to provide for collection of relevant evidence. Okay, without going into different routes, this research design will guide us, okay, to collect the relevant evidence with minimal expenditure of effort, time and energy. This will guide us properly without spending much of effort, time and money how to collect the data. Research purpose may be grouped into 4 categories: exploration, description, diagnosis and experimentation. Okay, so this is step 4, preparing the research design. Step 5, data collection. After research design, hypothesis, literature review, everything is over, data collection, collecting the data from the population or the sample. Primary data can be collected through by observation. You can select a group of people like 5 to 10 years age group children who are admitted in general ward of a pediatric hospital. Like that you can collect. By observation you can collect data. Observation through personal interview you can collect. Through telephone interview you can collect the data. By mailing or mailing the questionnaires. So to collect the data you have to prepare a tool. Tool means where some 30 or 40 questions will be there related to the topic of your research. That same thing you can mail to the patient parents. Like that you can ask the patient to fill that or reply to your mail through schedules. Like this you can conduct. You can conduct the research. Next, step 6, data analysis. After collecting data analysis has to be done. The analysis of data requires a number of closely related operations such as establishment of categories. This stage mainly include coding, editing, tabulation. For this data analysis, we need to have knowledge about statistics, research, statistics, how to code the data, answers whatever we get from the questionnaires, how to code it, editing and representing these in the form of a table, tabulation form. Then step 7. Step 7 is interpretation and report writing. Researcher has to prepare after data analysis, whatever results we got, researcher has to prepare the report of what has been done by him. Writing of report includes preliminary pages, the main text and the end matter. All this in the form of a booklet. We have to prepare the research from the step 1 to the last step, report writing. You have to, everything you have to clearly write and present your research result. These are all the steps of research process, which we have seen just now. 7 steps of research process: define research problem, review of literature, formulate hypothesis, preparing the research design, data collection, data analysis, interpretation and report writing. Okay, these are the steps of research process. Thank you everyone. Please like and share, subscribe to my channel.